Hi, welcome back to the show, everyone. I hope everyone had a great hour of networking. I went into a couple of the booths and they were very full. I could not even get into the Disney booth to ask a question. So thank you for all the support. We hope everybody's coming back to this amazing panel for this afternoon. It's about the metaverses and the NFTs. I know I've learned a little bit in the last 24 hours. And so this is an amazing panel moderated by our second-year alum, Victor Dandridge, who will bring the energy for this panel. So I'm excited for everybody at AfroAnimation. I'm excited to explore the world of the metaverses and the world of NFTs for aspiring artists and especially creators of color. And so, Victor, let's bring everybody on stage whenever you get a chance. But everybody, Victor Dandridge.
Thank you, Rio, for that wonderful intro. Thank you so much. Hello, and thank you for joining us for the second annual AfroAnimation Virtual Summit. We thank all our hosts and sponsors for putting together this event of art, culture, expression, and enterprise. I hope you all have been enjoying today's topic discussions. I'm Victor Dandridge, as Rio said, the hardest working man in comics, your moderator for this session. And it's my immense pleasure to welcome our panelists for this block, understanding the basic building blocks of the multiverse and NFTs. This is a huge conversation. This is going to be a great one for those that are futurists and want to get into the arts. Let's jump right into this. Joining us, we have Nia Simone. Hi, Nia.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, wonderful. I did say that correctly, did I? I want to make sure I did.
Yes, you did.
Wonderful.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you so much. And also with us, we have Shay Richburg.
Hi, Victor. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Good, thank you. Excited about today?
Yes, me too. I'm expecting to learn all the things. Adrian Rashad Driscoll, we got you here, Adrian? Hey, there he is.
How you doing?
Appreciate it. Next up, we have Rob Richardson. We got Rob in the building.
How's it going?
Hey, there we go. Excellent. Robert Frederick joining us as well. Hey, Robert. I think you're muted.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Hello.
Nice honor.
Now, I think are we still waiting? I think we're waiting for Marcus Harden, but we will let him join in when he gets a chance. Let's get into this. I mean, we're talking about the metaverse. We're talking about NFTs. I've got a number of open-ended questions for everyone, but I'm going to start off with first defining what each of these things are. The metaverse and NFTs, for those people that are brand new to this concept, I've jokingly considered, the metaverse, it's Minecraft, but for real. Is that a good way to describe that?
It's one way to describe it. A lot of people have different definitions, so there's really no right and wrong answer, I think. I would just jump and say one definition, it is a digital economy where people can engage with one another, they can purchase and trade in this online world or universe.
I love that. I love that. Everybody else kind of on that same page?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, it's to me, in order to define the metaverse, we have to define Web3 or and what that actually means, because some folks it's hard to get your head around. So you kind of did describe it accurately in a way, right? So when people are like, when your kids or maybe you play Roblox, or you're playing what's the other game? Fortnite. So in Fortnite, you buy these quote unquote skins, right? That people buy and they become characters within that game, but you don't own that. It's actually the gaming company that owns that.
Exactly.
And you can't do anything else with that other than show off to your friends that you own this skin. But we know that people are already thinking like that because kids are already spending billions of dollars of their parents' money, maybe their own money, just right, literally building images of themselves. And so when people are telling you, does this have value? The answer is, of course it has value. Look at what we're doing right now. Look at the fact that people value blue check marks on Twitter and Instagram. You do have there is a digital version of yourself, no matter what, and it does have value. And so now we're able to actually build economy off of that, as Shia said. And what Web3 is essentially the third evolution of the internet. And it's a way now to be able to have data where you can actually keep your data versus having a big company have your data. And now you can monetize that data and sell it. And how that works is really NFTs are nothing more. When you hear those things, NFTs are just digital fingerprints, right? They're like each one of us have fingerprints. We can't interchange our fingerprints. And so this digital asset is created, it's unique to you. And then you have this process where you can monetize it, which is called smart contracts. So it's a way that you can now create economies in a way that you couldn't before, including creating your own token, creating your own digitalware, creating your own gaming system, and essentially creating your own economic system or metaverse.
I love that. I love that. In a lot of ways, I believe there's a lot of fans of sci-fi and even popular movies that can see a lot of these things actually taking place in fictional universes, from The Matrix, from Ready Player One, all these different things. To see that hit now, that's a very exciting time. When it comes to NFTs, though, that's a little bit more, I would say, tricky, at least in my field in comics. For you guys, how do you define what NFTs could be? Robert, do you want to jump in? Yeah, Adrian?
I mean, I kind of said it, like the NFTs are the digital fingerprint, right? That's what it is. To simplify it, that's what it is. You create a unique asset that's a digital fingerprint. And then the second part of it is you have what's called a smart contract, which allows you to essentially monetize. So the easiest way to describe it is with 2 examples, right? So if we have a trading card, you have Michael Jordan's original trading card, right? We trade that, we have value. We know that value is created because it's authenticated through some type of third party. That's no longer needed because the digital NFT, you can do that right now. And Michael Jordan can say, okay, this is my original card. And you can see that it's Michael Jordan's original card. And then he said, I'm only going to have 100 of these. And then if you sell them in the regular sense, right? If you gave me the card and you sold it to me for $10,000 and I went and sold it for $100,000, you wouldn't get any of those secondary sales. Right. But now, because of the smart contract, it's like, okay, you can sell that and then you get 10% every single time that happens. So
I love that.
I mean, it's just a digital fingerprint and a smart contract. That's all an NFT is.
I like that. Joining us, we also have Marcus Harden coming in. Hello, Marcus. Oh, I think we got you muted still. Excellent. Okay, so when it comes to opportunities, I'm sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
I wanted to say one thing. One of the things that sort of mentioned, 2 Robs basically, but one of the things that he mentioned.
Sorry, I thought he was talking to
me. One of the things that a lot of people get confused about for NFTs is that it could be an image, it could be an artwork, it could be something that they're used to seeing on the web today or in video games. Some of the other things that could be an NFT could be any digital file, anything that involves. I was sort of joking about this the other day. I know about musical artists that are going into booths, into their studios, wearing a headset and actually recording their brainwaves so that they can tie it to the actual songs that they're actually producing. It's anything that can be used as a trading card now, any kind of digital file. The other thing is an NFT can be anything from just like a piece of art all the way to an experience. You can actually have an entire experience itself as an NFT, and that's a lot of the stuff that I like to talk about, because you can, when it comes to an experience as an NFT, that experience can be programmatic and it can exist within a metaverse, right?
I like that.
So
That's
it's a lot of fun, and I want people to sort of know that it's not just 2D art. It's way more than that. And if you're and there's a whole bunch of really new, interesting things coming along with that this year.
I appreciate the way that you both actually described a very grounded approach, as well as the jargonistic, language of what NFTs in the metaverse are. I kind of want to give you guys an opportunity to not only reintroduce yourselves, but also talk about your companies and why you decided to go this route in terms of business and enterprise. And Nia, if we could start with you, and I appreciate it.
Okay, all right. My background is in film and television marketing, film and television projects to multicultural audiences. And I have a firm that's been doing that for close to 10 years. I got involved in sitting on the board of a tech company that was involved in blockchain, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole and never came out. In late 2020, I had a friend call me and say, "Hey, have you been checking out the NFT marketplace?" I said, "Yeah, I'm aware of it, but nothing's really happening." So he said, "Check it again." And I did. And I think I called him back in 15 minutes and said, "I'm in. But this is what I want to do. I want to work with creatives from African descent, from the global African diaspora, to bring their creations from ideation and give them an opportunity to monetize and maintain value and control over their IP. Knowing and watching the trajectory of this and understanding the value of the smart contract, I just felt like this an unprecedented opportunity for innovators, creators to own their creation and to be able to reap that reward in perpetuity. So we coined a phrase called GFT, generational financial trauma, and we felt like NFTs were the response to that. And so that is the purpose of, in the kind of the genesis of Melanated.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, Ms. Richburg, I want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly. Is it Shia or is it Shay?
It's Shay.
Shay. Okay, not a problem. I just want to make sure I got that right. How about for you?
Well, before I fumbled into the metaverse personally, I was a futurist first, and I'm still a futurist. My partner and I started FutureWise years back because we started looking at future forward trends and applying agility and design mindset to political sectors, CEOs, higher education institutions. So everybody wanted to stay ahead of the curve, Victor, and they came to us. And so, as we all know, the metaverse is the future. It's the present and the future, and it's not going anywhere. And so instead of focusing our agenda on various trends, we focused on the metaverse, all the metaverse. And so what FutureWise is, it's a boutique agency that ushers in, we focus on celebrities, high-end clients and businesses, providing them building within the metaverse as well as marketing and strategy. It's really funny because, you have people say, "I bought property in the metaverse, I'm now in," and then they have no idea what to do once they're there. And then that's when they call up Shay and say, "I know you and your team. I need you guys to help us." And we really provide the ABCs, Victor, which is we provide awareness. So if we work with a company, we go in and we'll do a workshop and really teach the staff members at a high level, C-suite, so CEO or CMO companies, what the metaverse is and how they need to get in and train up their staff, how to get in, how to engage, how to make sales in there. B, we build the blueprint for them on how to brand themselves once they're in there and to get a real strategy and get your followers from the real world into the metaverse. And then C, we construct and execute the actual plan to really have you making a real financial plan and benefit from being in the metaverse. And aside from that, I'm a metaverse speaker, and I'm passionate on speaking on child safety and harassment in the metaverse. I am very well versed on this topic. It is very near and dear to me. So when I do speak personally, I speak on that particular sector because as this field is growing, it's important that particularly children, but we all stay safe as we're in the metaverse. There's so many use cases of harassment and tremendous dangers that can take place in there. So I really work with people personally to build guidelines within their facilities or homes or establishments in the metaverse to keep kids and all of us safe in there.
That's beautiful work. Thank you. Thank you. Adrian, and yourself.
Hey guys, Adrian Rashad Driscoll. So I guess I have a few roles. My background is in television and film. I spent many, many years just creating pictures, and about 8 years ago, I was introduced to 360 video, which was under the umbrella term VR, of course. And I fell in love. I saw it was a new medium to be able to tell stories. And as I came from a television and film background and was also very versed in theater, I was telling stories in 360 in a very realistic way. You know, it made sense instead of the typical people were shooting pictures and putting the camera in the middle of the table and you didn't feel connected because you don't sit in the middle of the table. You know, small things like that. So then I finally got some traction and I realized that it was really 360 video and immersive media in general with a back door to these big studios. So then I started lending what I had learned to other creators and Black creators and say, look, we have a level playing field. For the first time, you know, I had studios, HBO, NBC coming and asking me questions. And, you know, and that's like unheard of. You know, you have these gatekeepers and you actually get to bypass that. So a couple years ago, I created Collimation with my business partner, Young Guru. And we just saw that this was a way to create unique experiences and really focus on the narrative. And, you know, of course, the metaverse or metaverses, however you choose to phrase it, these grew from that. You know, how can experiences really be impactful and what does each person really want to take from it? So that's been our focus and that's where we found great success. So yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. I love that. Marcus?
Hey, how you doing? My business, Art Jones, is focused on art and technology. I actually have a background in engineering, and then I decided to follow my passion in art, and particularly fine art. And what interested me about fine art was the amount of wealth that is created in fine art that, you know, our community don't take advantage of. I mean, just to let you know, like the highest number of collectors of Black art are not us. And that's something that I want to change. I want to change that in the digital space. I want to change that in the physical space. And so the idea of my business is to bridge the gap between the digital and the physical, the technology. So when I got into the art industry, I had a little gallery in the fifth district of Paris, France. That's where I live, Paris.
I love that.
And, you know, I decided I didn't want to be confined to four walls. So I said, let me look for, you know, something virtual. And this is before virtual galleries exploded. And I ended up finding some partners and we developed this virtual gallery. So fast forward to 2020, when the pandemic happened and this explosion of NFTs. And I said, well, okay, this is really interesting. How do I want to be a part of this market space? And I decided to go with designing spaces specifically for NFTs. So my partners and I designed this online museum called itsaroundus.art. So I check it out when you get a chance. And so in the metaverse space, I want to expand this museum into the metaverse and make it this interactive space where not only can people display their artwork, but they can learn history. They can learn history about our people in Africa. Like I'm so lucky that, you know, African artists seem to find me all the time, you know, on Instagram. And so I'm always having conversations with them about their cultures and their language. And I mean, just to throw something out there again, it's like Cameroon has over 200 languages. Wow. 200. Wow. If you look at all the languages in the Africa diaspora, the number of languages are incredible. So the culture there is so rich. And how do we capture that? How can Black Americans hear and see their stories? Well, you know, NFTs, metaverse, that's the space, that's the connector. That's how all of us can be one. And so hopefully with all of us together, the people that are listening, we can kind of, you know, create that parallel universe.
I like that. Robert Frederick, we'll have you do it, and Richardson, you can bring us on home.
So I'm probably the OG on this panel when it comes to metaverses, because I've been dealing with metaverses since 1995. That's how far back I go. Just really quick and easy, just in case anybody I know is in the crowd, I did say 95. So I'm from Atlanta. Shout out to everybody in Atlanta. But ultimately, I'm living in Seattle right now. I went to MIT, and if anybody here knows what the MIT Media Lab is, I actually was in the MIT Media Lab. I worked with their interactive cinema department in '93. I'm a published author. I've done all the way things to Victor, as I told you, even comics as well, graphic art, graphic novels. I came to this particular meeting almost like the name of my company is Circle, by the way, because this is what I started out doing back then. I ran into some people after doing interactive cinema, immersive cinema, that type of thing. The things that Netflix is sort of playing around with right now, where you choose your own adventure and those types of things. Back then, bringing it online. Did Rotterdam Film Festival, had a cover of American Cinematography or Cinematographer, from one of our projects at the MIT Media Lab. And then everything else up until about a couple years ago has been all tech. So people know me as one of the technical founders of Amazon Web Services. Believe it or not, one of us actually was there, making it happen. And the other aspect, 40-something patents to my name, I think 42 at this point in time, voice recognition, Bluetooth, before it was even called Bluetooth, working on that, Amazon Web Services, I can go on and on and on, right? And then social networking. And the way that I come into this is because I met someone in '95 who had a company that was all about metaverses. It was called Worlds Inc. And we basically have hit it off. And ever since then, I've been trying to figure out ways to connect the things that I'm doing through other technologies, the things that I advise for some of our customers from Circle. And it turns out that a few years back, once NFTs started happening, I will say not really the NFT part was what was the big game changer, because this has been attempted multiple times, as Rob said, and I will confirm, it's about the smart contract. It's about getting those particular artists. It's about getting recognition and having a percentage of anything that is basically traded. I'm expecting that people are going to go from sneakerheads in the hood, you know what I mean, and in various parts of the world, to basically NFT heads, people trading cards to trading digital files, basically, from someone like Nas, I'm a huge fan of, has NFTs for his album. And then, like I mentioned earlier, if there are brainwaves that go along with it, some people basically buy that too. And my most recent collaboration in the NFT space and metaverse space, I'm actually bringing Deepak Chopra into the metaverse, and that will be. We just did a press release on that. If anyone wants to take a look at that. But when it comes to this particular conference, I have deep experience when it comes to metaverses, what has succeeded, what hasn't succeeded, how to drive engagement, what to do, as Shay said earlier. Once they have an NFT, we want to incorporate that into multiple metaverses, and actually allow people to do ticketing, eventing, galleries, like Marquise said. One of the top African-American artists, passed away, but his family is now talking with me. So Marcus, we're going to be talking soon about this, because his artwork is up in almost every museum of note. And so get ready for one heck of a amazing experience for that coming, all the way to the immersive experiences that you hear about for Van Gogh, Dali. I mean, why can't we do it for our own,
Right. Absolutely.
But ultimately, very soon, and I'll hand it off so it doesn't keep going. I am a futurist. I believe in this future. I'm also a CEO and a capitalist, and I want to basically federate and share, revenue with as many people as possible. So if there's anybody out in the crowd listening, if you're an artist, if you do 3D graphics, if you have an idea for even a film that you want to basically show off, And just know that those films can actually be played in a metaverse. And there could be ticketing events associated with it. Reach out to me, please. I'm so honored to basically be invited, because I'm also representing here today, ways to get people distributed as well.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Mr. Richardson.
Oh, well, thank you. It's really hard to follow that up, man. Really, really impressive, brother. So I'm Rob Richardson. My background is in, I have electrical engineering background, and I also went to law school. And a lot of my career really I was focused a lot on public service and really figuring out how do we solve some of the problems we have in terms of inequality. And a lot of my focus was on public policy. So I ran for public office. Long story bearable. Got 2 million votes, but didn't win. I'm in Ohio. Kind of speaks for itself. But it's, so I pivoted and wanted to figure out a way. Well, how can I have an impact and continue doing things that can have my voice out there and really help make change? And so I started a company, Disruption Now Media. We focused on interactive events and podcasts that really focused on Black and brown folks in tech and in the creative industry. Through that process and through events, I learned about what was introduced to me as crypto art, which we're talking about as NFTs, which I think is a little different from Metaverse. I know we talk about Metaverse, and I love the Metaverse. I do think we have some steps to get adoption to the Metaverse, but I love the Metaverse, and I believe it's going to be integral into where we're going. But I am very much a futurist as well, and the future is happening right now in real time. And I really I feel very passionate when I learned about what was going on, that we have to, not only be involved as creators, which some of us are, but we have to own distribution and platform companies. So Disrupt Art we're a full scale NFT marketplace specifically focused on fashion, film, and music, and also using utility, real world value to make sure that brands and artists can directly connect with their fans and their collectors without the others that kind of get in the way in without the other kind of interference of constructs that get in the way. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. But there's so much opportunity for wealth building going on right now. And we've had in all our lifetimes, we've seen like the greatest moments of opportunity ever happen. Right. So the .com era was that era at the beginning. And I didn't participate in that because that was right when I was getting done with college, and I just didn't get in that stage. And then I would call it the internet 2.0. That was kind of an opportunity, but not the same as the .com, because really web 2.0 was really set up by the .com era. So all those who started in the .com era did very well in terms of, I'm talking about transitions, right? This is an opportunity for us to get in at the stage of where .com was, but even at a larger scale. And so creating Disrupt Art and being very intentional about creating a decentralized multimedia company that can empower us. I felt very strongly that needed to happen, because even in this quote unquote decentralized economy, there's a whole bunch of centralized organizing going on. Make no mistake, right? People are working behind the scene, organizing, and there's going to be some consolidation. And I don't know if we're going to get complete decentralization, but I can tell you this right now. If you're building right now, and those who are listening, if you're interested, don't wait. Now is the time to start building. Now is the time to start learning. Now is the time, because everybody that was involved in the .com era, even if their business didn't become, Amazon, everybody that was involved is doing very, very well. So you now have the opportunity now to be the innovators, to be the pioneers. And I want to make sure that as many people as possible understood what was going on, and that we control the narrative as much as possible. And there's never been a better tool than Web3, than NFTs ever in history, because I'm not a believer in that. Like, nobody's coming to save us. Like I know we're into superheroes here, right?
Quite true.
We got Black Panther, we got Iron Man, Hulk. Like that's all for the comic books, and nobody's coming. We have to save ourselves. And exactly. I can tell you that Web3 provides the best opportunity for creating economies and creating more opportunities and getting returns in a way that you can't get in the quote unquote traditional world. So our platform is focused on fashion, film, and music, helping creators have more power. So when you think about musicians and all the money that's taken from them, not only and streaming right now, for you to get, if you have 1 million streams as a musician, you know how much money you get back? You get back $4,000 for 1 million streams.
That's wild.
Right?
That's wild.
Right. So there has to be other ways for them to make money. And then if they go perform, then you have others that get in the way. That you have to go through one source, which is Live Nation. They take away, they get 2/3 of the money for your performance, and you have to go through them. We can disrupt that with Web3, and that's where we're creating the tools, as he said, for ticketing, for direct interaction. Film directors shouldn't have to get the blessings of Netflix, Hulu.
Wait. Before we get into that, though, one, I don't want to go too far on that one.
Yes. So we have the power for crowdfunding behind this to build money, to build crowdfunding, and then when you go to Netflix, you go to Hulu, if you want to go through that, and I think that's still going to be relevant. You have more power, so you don't have to give away all your intellectual property.
Very true. Very true. Here's a question from the audience, because we definitely want to get them involved in this conversation. For aspiring and emerging artists looking to get into NFTs, what are some of the tips and suggestions to get into this space? And I want to caveat that one to make sure that there's a way to curate the actual use of these things, that it's not just a matter of the supposed money, but actual creation that has vested interest. Is there a tip that you guys want to start off with? And I'm going to ask, just so we can keep it moving, that we can kind of throw something out there, and if you can build on it, but just a quick, tip that you would suggest for that.
Absolutely. I'll start. One, think about the user experience, the utility. You look at NFTs, and there's a lot of crypto art, and it's great, and there's a value to it. But to build true value and to get one of these, Bored Ape Yacht Clubs or one of these huge things, you want to make sure there's utility. What is the person going to ultimately get after, besides just making their avatar? What are you going to be able to do with it? Is it going to give me a key to this party? Is it going to give me a discount on this shirt I want? Is it going to give me exclusive access? These are things that people really gravitate towards and should definitely be thought of. And just on top of that, make sure you understand that just because you make an NFT doesn't mean you're going to get residuals off it. These things have to be written into the smart contracts. These things have to be discussed, because there's a lot of people who will say, oh, you assume you get this? Well, you don't, and then it gets sold for $1 billion and you don't get any additional income off it. So understand the legalities of it and make sure this utility would be my drop.
I love the utility aspect of that. Yeah. That's brilliant. Do you warn against people? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in too. Like, it first starts with the art. Like, the art needs to be good, and people need to resonate with the art before anything else. That's the number one thing, is the art. Like, the first advice I will tell you is not to do something for the money. Do it for the passion. Like, do it because you love your craft and you want to put out the best possible work out there for people to enjoy and to have an experience with. The minute you try to do it for the money, it's cut.
Yeah,
people will know.
Yeah, I would say very, 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 very quickly, I believe in utility. Our marketplace platform, we have custom solutions built for utility. I think utility is in other words, real world value attaching to your NFT is very, very important. And then you need to think about 3 other things: the ownership, because there's only 4 things that make it valuable: utility, ownership history. Does somebody uniquely within your group own it? Michael Jordan, I throw that out there. Oprah Winfrey. That's obviously going to raise the value just like it would in any other physical piece of art. If it's rare in some way, what is your rarity? How are you making sure certain aspects are rare? What type of art do you want to do? Is it going to be a generative art piece? He said the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's when you have the bigger pieces, 5,000s. Are you going to be a one of one? Are you going to be whatever? There's no, how are you going to enter this? If you're a film director, you need to think about this in the most creative way, and then think about how you're going to continually add value to it. And then finally, if it's the first of its kind. So if you can do something that hasn't been done, and there's a lot of stuff that still hasn't been done in this NFT space, that increases the likelihood of your value. But long story bearable, definitely learn by doing. Start small, learn, go into some communities, ask questions, and then start small with a project that you can learn from and then build from there.
I appreciate that.
And I'll say one really fast thing. Everyone's saying the art. I always try to change it slightly. And there's art, and then there's the experience of the art, right? And when you're talking about metaverse, it's not just the art, it's how are people going to see it from every angle? How are, like, we actually have this concept of a 4D NFT, you know what I mean? Where you stand in front of it, you view it, and then you step into it.
Mm-hmm.
And what is
That's
that
brilliant.
experience going to be, both visually and like with your auditory experience? You know what I mean? When you're inside the art itself, think about it that way. If you are going to create something, just to riff off of what Rob just said, create something that hasn't been done before, and watch people flood towards you accordingly.
I love that. I love that. Miss Nia, we have a piece when it comes to NFTs, and obviously you've got the NFT AtlantaCon coming up, where there's a negativity that's been associated with NFTs, and I was hoping that you could speak on that, both in the sense of the climate control aspects of it that a lot of scientists have been concerned about with the energy production of it, and on the social level, there was the semi-recent showcase of slaves within the NFT market. And I would love to get your thoughts on that one.
So I think the response to the climate issue has more to do with the mining of Ether or Bitcoin. The crypto mining is the climate concern. There are blockchains that have been developed and are being developed that are not as energy, they're not draining energy. They're not, they're completely opposite to the Ether or to the Bitcoin blockchain. So I think that putting that aside and understanding that there's an evolution, and with any evolution, there's change. And so that was the genesis. And now we're kind of further down the road, and there will still be other technologies that will be developed that I'm sure will be reducing a carbon footprint. In terms of the meta slaves, I mean, I loved what Shay had to say about it's very dangerous out there, and people are assuming that this is a safe space to wonder. I think that as people of African descent, we have to be very mindful and be very vigilant about what's going on in this metaverse. When a meta slave auction can be held on the biggest marketplace, we need to be very concerned not only about the fact that that was created because the conversation went back to, oh, it's code. Well, code has to be created, right? It just doesn't pop up and occur. So code was created, and the result was these meta slaves, which resembled people of African descent 100%, and then was allowed to be placed in this marketplace. Nobody questioned the marketplace's ability to put it there and pretend to look in the other direction, which leads itself to say, okay, if there's a meta slave auction, there means that there's a meta plantation somewhere, and we have to, I think, again, really be concerned about what's going on in this metaverse and being very vigilant about being vocal about what's allowable and what's not, and not giving a pass to individuals who say, oh, I didn't recognize it was offensive. How could you live on this earth and not recognize that slavery is offensive in any manner? And a slave auction of human beings that happen to resemble us and our ancestors, how could that not be offensive and allowable? And you are able to continue. So yeah, I feel I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about the fact that we need to keep watch. We need to have watchdogs in the metaverse the same way we have watchdogs in communities. And I think that, one of the things that we haven't talked about with the smart contract, which, I wanted to say to artists earlier, is one of the benefits of this technology is the authenticity, and part of that is storytelling. And it's creating the story of authenticity that supports, so that later down the line, that Marcus Harden won't be blonde-haired and blue-eyed because he created something different and he lived in, the fifth arrondissement of Paris. Yeah. So, it is the power of this that, far exceeds a piece of art. It's more than a piece of art. It's the story. What vertical? Where's your point of entry? And we all have something to say. So the art is valuable if art is your vertical. But if it's not your vertical, if it's filmmaking, make that film the best film and put it out there, because now you have no gatekeepers.
Absolutely.
You are, so you're telling a story as an author. I mean, this is our ability to tell our stories.
I love that. I love that.
Unhomogenized.
No, that's so important. And I kind of want to throw in an aside on the auction piece, that in a way I do feel like it was a convenient way for people to out themselves with their interests of subjugating us in visualizations like that. So thank y'all for showing who you really were, because we see you now. Shay, absolutely. Shay, do you mind sharing some of the things that you see that make a successful marketing campaign in the metaverse space, and how is it different from traditional marketing efforts? Oh, you're still muted. Nope, we still got you muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we've seen a lot going on, concerts in the metaverse, in the fashion industry, but I definitely want to take note that the fashion industry has really done a remarkable job on marketing in the metaverse. And what they've done, and what my company does too, is they've really merged together real world marketing with this meta marketing. And that's what really needs to come together. And when you market in the metaverse, you really have to have people understand that there is no limitation to what can happen in the metaverse. We're bringing something new and fresh and exciting. So when they did all the new fashion lines in the metaverse, the key to hooking people in or seeing these new skins or, these new clothes for these avatars, this was something, beyond what we've seen before. And all industries are really going to have to entice people about thinking outside of the box, Victor. That's really what the metaverse does. It is created to enhance the real world, not to replace the real world. And so when I saw that marketing campaign, I got it. I loved it. I mean, I was invited to all these events. I knew everything that was going on. Again, this is in the real world. And when I was in the metaverse, there were lots of billboards saying, don't forget, this fashion show tonight, this fashion show the next night. So it really did work harmoniously, again, with the real world interest in taking it and leap into excitement. And so that's what you really need to see to get people from the real world into the metaverse. Gotcha. But also keep in mind, things in the metaverse really need to be fresh. It needs to be safe and exciting, because things can get ugly, as Nia said, really fast. And we don't want that, and we don't want people promoting that in there. So if you really do marry those two in marketing and branding, I think you will see people, very much excited. We need more than just concerts in there. There needs to be more learning experiences. One example, I know they are literally building the Brazilian rainforest there. There are so many people who have not had the opportunity to see that. And soon they will be marketing this experience in the metaverse. This is something, just promoting excitement, safety, excitement, and learning, and putting your passion behind it and connecting with people. That's going to be the best campaigns that we'll see in the metaverse. I'm telling you, that is what's going to connect all of us. And as Marcus said, the metaverse is about unity and connecting everyone from all over, not just your region here and your region there. It's really about the connectivity. So once you have a campaign that connects on a larger scope, it's endless on the amount of people who will really walk with you into this new world.
I love that.
Can I add to what Shay is saying just for a second?
Yeah.
As someone who has been working on stuff since flip phones, right? Trying to make things happen. I want to talk about the actual concept of how people will experience it.
Okay.
And how, what type of devices people are basically going to be using it. Because there's this belief that I can't really participate in this particular space until people have headsets. Everybody's wearing a headset. You tell that to someone in different parts of the diaspora who can't get their hands on a headset or couldn't afford it,
Right.
You're basically isolating people and pushing them outside of participating in this particular new form of technology and experiences. What I'm here to say is, if you have a computer, if you have the right type of technology, if you have the right idea, if you have the ability to create art, as Marquise and Rob and Adrian have said, if you can just create, if you're a creator, there are those of us out here who will take whatever you have and make it possible to get out to as many people as possible. I have been combating this belief system around, headsets only, to anything with a screen. You know what I mean? Anything with a screen will work.
So it's super accessible.
As long as you can get that out there, and if you can create something that can work on any screen, you will have an audience. Please, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm here to basically say, if you're an artist, if you do 2D animate, like 2D artwork, animation, if you're a 3D designer, if you're a futurist, if you just have an idea, of something
explore
that
what can be done,
be digital, you can participate. Please participate. Don't let other people tell you that you can't, or believe that, that's going to be 5 years from now. Right now is when things are happening. And if you don't get in on it now, you're going to be 5 years behind.
Appreciate that.
And
Adrian?
just to piggyback, because it's so profound what's being said. And this has been our approach for a long time. People consume things differently. How do you make something exciting? Make it accessible through all mediums. Make it accessible through 2D, through AR, through VR. The true hybrid or transmedia approach is you're letting people pick the way they consume. Right. Now you're bringing everybody in. Now it's exciting. Now you've really boosted the narrative, and that's all that matters. And you hear me every talk, I say narrative, but that's it. Everything's the narrative. How do you want to consume this narrative? How are you going to relate to this? And then it becomes, equitable, and people have equal access, because they're not just dependent on, headsets, which they may or may not be able to afford. So I love that point, because it needs to be driven home. So thank you, Robert, for saying that. That's and Shay as well as Marcus. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, Adrian, what's one of the projects that you are most proud of that you've been a part of? Oh man, so I'll try to make it quick. So one of the ones we did was we did a show with Rhapsody in alt space, and the reason that this was so beautiful was initially we're doing for CES, and I did this whole spaced out thing, and I had poker chips, and it was great. So then I showed it to Rap, and Rap's like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, "What you mean it's cool?" I said,
that's more than cool, man. Give me some.
What do you mean? And she's like, "I'm not really into sci-fi." So then it's like, "What are you into?" And she's like, well, I like a Brooklyn block party with graffiti and this, that, and the third. And then we built that. So now her fans have a chance to party inside her head. You're being able to create an experience without any raw materials, because there are no limits. To Shay's point, there's no limits anymore. So now you're able to give them a truly immersive experience. And it went over it was phenomenal. And everybody was talking about it, and that opens up to, what do other artists want? What could artists not be limited in their concert experience? What could they not be limited to, and say, hey, look, the label says you have 500,000 to do this. No, let's say, what if you had 500 billion? What would you do? What face melting experience could you do? And that's so exciting to me, because now I can really push the narrative again, in ways that, aren't typically available through most mediums. So that just it blew the roof off, and now we're doing holograms and everything else, because there are no limits. Of course, there really aren't. So I love that. Short story long. No. That's a wonderful one. I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to say where folks can find you on social media. So Nia, if we can start with you, if you could let us know where we can find you, because there's a lot of questions, and I want people to be able to contact you guys directly to continue the conversation.
So we're at Melanated Studios. On all platforms, Discord channel hashtag 1633 at Melanated Studios, and then at NFT Atlanta Con, NFT Atlanta.
And that's a virtual event, correct?
No, it's in real life. It's it's in real life, May 24th to 26th. Shay is one of our speakers, and Rob, so you can hear more from them in real life. I think Adrian, today you became one, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's we're really excited about it. It literally is to do everything we talked about here. It's to show innovators, subject matter experts, visionaries, thought leaders, to show that we are not just the talent or the help, but we are actually moving and creating the space.
Very well said. Very well said. Shay, what about you?
People can find me at www.futurewisegroup.com. My business partner and I. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm heavily on LinkedIn, actually. I am not on Facebook. I'm so sorry. I actually am not big on social media, except for I'm on Instagram rarely, but really LinkedIn, because that's where my business associates are. So if you're looking for me, Shay Richburg there, and I look forward and welcome to working with a lot of you. And it was wonderful in speaking with you all today.
Thank you so much. Marcus?
Unmute myself. You guys can find me on Instagram, Artgense, ARTGENCE, ARTGENCE. I really celebrate Black artists on my Instagram profile. I look at my DMs on a daily basis. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. But I want to leave you with this. Young artists, like, build your team. Build your team now. Get people on your team that on subject matters that you don't know about. A writer, if you're an animator, get a writer. If you're a writer, get an animator. If you're a programmer, get a UX UI designer. If you need music, find someone that's producing music and tracks and all that stuff. Build your team. That's what we do as older guys. So that's the one thing I want to leave with you guys. And also, that's part of your community building, for your NFT projects. When you have 10 people on your team, and that 10 people know another 10 people, and that 10 people know another 10 people, then you've grown your community. So keep that in mind when you're putting these things together. Don't feel like you can do it all yourself, because you can't. And so try to find people smarter than you to join your team, and grind. It's a grind. So that's it.
I love that. I love it. Marcus, do me a favor, pick up the microphone that you're using and then drop it, because that was epic. Sincerely. Yeah, that was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Victor, you're stealing my line.
I'm sorry, Robert. Yeah, look, we was in the same vibe.
All I was gonna say, at least for me, the best way to get in touch with me is through LinkedIn. So go look up my name, Robert Frederick, as it's spelled on the screen right now, and look at the company. I'm not very good at spelling, so I do Circle, SIRQUL.com. We're an accelerator. I'll actually say we're a metaverse accelerator. We actually are coming out with a product called UR3D, as in the letter U, R, 3D.world. If you see that one coming up, is not using Unity or Unreal. Okay. It's actually using our own engine. So we're talking about something that is, ready to compete. I'm telling you, I'm an OG. We're coming.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And one of the cool things here is, please reach out to me. I don't care if you are, I've already had 2 or 3 people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm sending messages back and forth to them now. Come to my website, go to ur3d.world, go to circle.com. You'll see all sorts of things that don't match. Game development, 3D development, IoT. We're doing actual true digital twins. That's why I wanted to talk to Marcus, right?
All the things.
True digital. We're talking foot by foot, inch by inch digital twins for spaces, so that people can interact both in the physical world and in the digital world, in the metaverses of choice. Wow. And so again, please reach out to me if you have an idea. I'm so open to basically talking to people, and I'm coming down to Atlanta. I'm going to find each and every one of you, and we're going to have lunch and dinner and build. Because
the community is built right before us.
Is let's just build and make this our own. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that.
It's almost the FUBU thing all over again, right?
But it'll last a little longer. It'll last a little bit longer.
My age, right?
Yeah, there you go. Adrian, what about you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, on sorry, I'm still laughing, FUBU. So Collimation TV. So it's just COLLIMATION TV on all platforms. Reach out on LinkedIn, Adrian Rashad Driscoll. I got like 30 requests right now, so I'll get to you guys, I promise. And then if you just want to keep up with my everyday life and all the shenanigans I get into on Instagram, it's Driscoll. It's DRISCOOL. That's it.
Nice. Rob, bring us on home.
You can go to disrupt.art. I first want to connect with everybody on this panel. It's amazing being around so much Black excellence and building in this space. So I see a lot of points for us to intersect and align, because our platform allows you to. We have our own IPFS system, and all you on the panel know what that means. So then we can mint movies on our actual platform, and you can mint on chain, like metaverse ready type of content. So you guys are ready. I'd love to have a conversation. And then for those in the audience, disrupt.art on all socials. On LinkedIn, you can look up Rob Richardson Jr. And I'll just leave you with this: Blockbuster thought the future was going to be in these physical movies being collected, and they had a chance to own Netflix. Netflix approached
passed on it.
They did, right? But they're like, nah, we don't think people are going to get that. And, Blockbuster's out of business, and Netflix is obviously a multi-billion-dollar business. So creators, all you listening, be Netflix. Do not allow yourself to be intimidated to say you can't understand this tech. This tech is not, you don't need to understand all the tech. Most people don't understand the technology behind email. You just know that you send information and it gets to that person. All you need to know is that this is an avenue for you to take art, to take events, anything with data and events and interactions. You can make a name for yourself and have an opportunity in the space, but don't be intimidated. Don't say you can't learn. Don't say you're not technical, because those are like fear blocks or things that have been said to us to keep us in our space.
Absolutely.
Don't allow anybody to be in your space. Define yourself for yourself, by yourself. Get into the space and build. You can do it. Don't allow yourself to be intimidated.
That's the message, y'all. Rise up. I'm going to pass this off to Rio, but before we go, thank you all for joining us. This has been amazing. I appreciate all of your expertise and talent. And Rio's here. Hello.
Guys, this was amazing. And ladies, and clearly next year we need 2 hours for this panel.
Right.
Rob Richardson, I see you. I mean, you were dropping knowledge where I was like, this guy needs, a lecture hall. And, Robert Frederick. Talk about the OG. Like I feel smarter already. Actually, I don't. I feel so much dumber. But I'm excited about what's possible here. So I love that everybody has just dropped their own knowledge. Marcus, I don't even know if we recognize that you are in Europe. You're in Paris, France.
Paris.
So doing your thing. And so we love that you took some time for us. I think it's probably dinner time for you now. Or bedtime, I'm not sure. And then I just have to throw a shout out to the ladies, Shay and Nia. Thank you, because oftentimes when the future comes and it comes crashing towards us, we don't see a lot of females. And so I love that you guys are at the forefront, and I love that these brothers are supporting you. And I think that there's going to be a powerful alliance here. Victor, the original comic book guy and fan, you were the right moderator, because NFTs are fan-based. They're exciting, they're collectible. So everything we were all talking about is phenomenal. So thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead and remove you from the stage, if you don't mind. And I just have a couple of housekeeping notes for folks. It is now 1 o'clock Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern, and we've had some amazing programming today. And what I'd love to do now is direct everybody to the left of your screen, that way or that way, I'm not sure, and you'll see sessions and you'll see the expo. there are amazing people who have put together some great programming in the expo. Not only the major studio sponsors that we mentioned earlier, but we've got not only a session by Sony ImageWorks. If you click on the session there, they'll be talking about working in this industry and being diverse perspectives of working in animation. And then we have Maxis as an exhibitor sponsor. Please click on their booth and go in and check them out. Mainframe, they loaned us 2 people. We heard from Greg Little earlier today, and we'll hear from Tanya Green and from their preschool team tomorrow. And so please check out their booth. And then of course, Kickstarter, we have a whole panel dedicated to funding your independent project tomorrow. So Kickstarter is going to be there. We've got some representatives there. But again, please check out all the booths to the left of your screen. If you just hit Expo, there's amazing content there. But now I really want to direct you to the sessions. Disney TV Animation brought it for us again. They joined us last year with our, industry vet, Jay Francis, but he's now introduced us to the Proud family. And again, we heard from the Craig with the Creek people earlier. The Proud family is an original IP that has been with the Disney company for years, and now it's an animated series. And so we're going to meet Bruce Smith, the creator. We're going to meet some of his team, and they have a phenomenal presentation to share with you. Like we said, Sony Pictures ImageWorks out of Canada, they have a phenomenal panel in the sessions called The Influence of Diverse Perspectives at Sony Pictures ImageWorks. So you see these companies, these big major companies, they're addressing diversity head on. We asked for this, and now we're getting it. And then we have our friends in the Latinx community, and we're so grateful that they're a partner this year. They're going to talk about freelancing and animation as an international artist. We have people from all over the world already. We have folks from the UK here. We have folks from Paris, folks from Africa, African countries, including Ghana, Nigeria, Lagos, South Africa. So the freelancing and animation as an international artist, please join the Latinx folks in the sessions. And then finally, our old friend, it's not that old, Sonia Carey is going to be in the session introducing you to some of the 2D animation pipeline tools for all the aspiring artists who are saying, I don't have tools, I don't have money, I really want to jump into this industry, but I don't know where to go. Head to that session right now. But in the meantime, I want to thank all of our sponsors, Sony ImageWorks, Maxis, Mainframe, Kickstarter. Please check them out in their expos. I want to thank the major studios who have stepped up and sharing with us not only their content, but their people. So all the Disney studios, Lucasfilm, Industrial Light Magic, Marvel, Pixar, Warner Brothers, thank you. The Craig of the Creek panel was phenomenal. I know I'm forgetting some folks. Sony Pictures Animation, DreamWorks Animation, the Copeland brothers, phenomenal guys. And we love seeing people who look like them and the stories that they bring to this industry. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and thank everybody for a wonderful day. The next hour belongs all to the sessions. So go to the left of your screen, hit sessions, check out the Proud family, check out Sony Pictures ImageWorks, Latinx, check out the 2D pipeline. And then in an hour from now at 5 o'clock, there'll be more networking and recruiting in the booths. I was finding it very hard to get into line for some of those booths in the earlier sessions. So hopefully there'll be more information and more opportunities at 5. Okay, thank you everybody, and we'll see you in the sessions.